Hi guys, welcome to Wrestling Retrospective, and in this video I'll be doing my review of AEW All In 2024. So starting off with the 0 hour, and one of the matches on that card was Willow Nightingale and Tomohiro Ishii versus Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway. This was the second match of three. The 8-man tag, the 10-man tag and the 16-man tag, they were okay, but I'm not really going to cover them because they didn't really have an effect on anything. They were just there, and it just doesn't feel as if like it was worth anything. Like they were just alright matches. So, but this one actually had stakes, and the one we knew going in, and the one I actually predicted. So, I'll cover this one. And yeah, I thought it was a decent match. Statlander and Nightingale wrestled the majority of the match, which I expected beforehand. But when Stokely got in the ring, I thought it was really more comedic than anything else. You know, the chops and him running into Ishii and kind of taking himself out because Ishii just stood there. But then when Stokely really did get into it, I thought the no-sell of the spine buster I thought was really funny. But then when Chris Statlander came in and kind of she started going at Ishii, the fact that she made him like stumble and all that after a forearm, I thought was really made Statlander look really good, even though she was like the heel on the opponent. Ishii pinning Hathaway made sense for me, and Willow now gets to pick the stipulation for their match at All Out. What stipulation she'll choose, I'm not sure. I assume it'll be some kind of no DQ match, maybe a last woman standing match. But you know, do put down in the comments what you think Willow's going to choose as a stipulation. As a babyface, it is probably harder for her to pick a stipulation, whereas as a heel, they can like go for anything that'll give them the advantage pretty much. So it's an interesting way to go, but it does put their series, I think, at 2-2. So then the final match, I assume it will be All Out, will make it 3-2. So it makes sense to me in that way. But yeah, Willow Nightingale and Tomohiro Ishii defeat Stokely Hathaway and Chris Statlander in what was a pretty decent match to start the show off. At the end of the pre-show, we kind of got an impromptu Saraya promo with Harley Cameron and her whole family was there. And yeah, I think as a moment, I thought it was pretty cool just to have like an unexpected thing happen. They cut to Renee Paquette and RJ City kind of talking about the show, and then suddenly Saraya's music hit. I thought it was a really cool way of doing it, because it did feel like Saraya should have been on the show, but there's kind of no space for her, and you know, I kind of understood it to a point, but I'm glad they got her on the pre-show. And then probably one of my favourite moments of the night, we got Jamie Hayter return, and it's something that I've been asking for months and months and months now. I probably would have had a return in the TBS Championship match, or at least afterwards. I think it would have really helped that match, to be fair, in retrospect. But I thought here was really good. People got to see it for free if they watched the pre-show, which I thought was really cool as well. The pop was massive for the people that were in the audience by the time this went on, and there was a fair few people in, but it wasn't packed out quite yet. And yeah, it was just a really cool moment. I'm glad I got to be there in attendance for it. And yeah, I really look forward to seeing what Jamie Hayter does. I assume that Jamie Hayter and Saraya will have a match at All Out, as they kind of need 2 weeks build. I thought this was like make perfect sense to put it on the pay-per-view. And yeah, I look forward to the match. And yeah, I can't wait to see what Jamie Hayter goes on to do now she's back, pretty much. For the first match on the main show, we had the Trios Championship London Ladder match, which we had the Patriarchy defending against Pack of the Blackpool Combat Club, the Bang Bang Gang and House of Black. I thought it was interesting that they did the entrances during the pre-show, but I assume it was something to do with time. But yeah, the match itself was really good. It was very enjoyable. I thought that Christian running away as soon as the bell started the match was really funny and could have been really smart. Like, my brother literally turned to me as soon as he ran away and went, oh, he's just going to come in at the end and kind of steal the match. That wouldn't be the case. Christian did try and kind of do that, but then he got caught really quickly, and it wasn't too far into the match that Christian also came back into it. And yeah, then everyone just beat the crap out of him, and then that was kind of his bit for the most part until like the kind of final sequence. I thought for a moment Luchasaurus Kill Switch looked really good, and there was just a moment where he was just choke slamming everybody, and like it was just really cool. And I do genuinely feel like Kill Switch could be a threat and taken more seriously, maybe if he changed his mask so he wasn't a dinosaur anymore, and kind of was taken more seriously by Christian Cage, and was like, you know, like the way he gave Shayna Wayne the title instead. I understand we're getting to the turn of Kill Switch eventually, but it's not going to be anytime soon because, you know, Killswitch would do some stuff later on in the night that would help Christian Cage again. So, but yeah, I thought the Nick Wayne, I thought that he was barely in this match, but what he did was really good. Like, he did a Wayne's World through a table. I think it was to one of the members of Babel Combat Club, or the Bang. No, I think he did the Wayne's World through the table to the member of the Bang Bang Gang, and then did a Canadian Destroyer through a table to Malachi Black or Wheeler Yuta. I can't remember exactly who, but like I said, he didn't do much, and he wasn't in the ring much, and never really got pointed out. But the stuff he did do, like, majorly affected the match, which I thought was really cool and really good moment for him. And yeah, I thought the Bang Bang Gang were like the MVPs of the match. I thought that they were involved in nearly everything that went down. They had the funny moments with Shayna Wayne and Juice Robinson. They did the table spots with Claudio and Brody King. And yeah, they seemed to be everywhere all at once, getting involved with everything. I thought was really cool. And you know, at one point I did think they were going to win the match. The spear from Christian Cage to Buddy Murphy from the ladder I thought was really cool, and it looked brutal just because not a lot of the table broke, and Buddy seemed to bang the back of his head really badly on the table. But yeah, I thought it was a big win for Pac, just getting the win itself, and like having that moment on top of the ladder where he was celebrating with everybody and winning a championship at Wembley. The one thing is that I'm not sure how this actually works as a team. Just because, like, I'm pretty sure that Cardio and Pac have beef, and Pac isn't a big fan of the Blackpool Combat Club. So for them to suddenly come together seems really random and really put together to me. Like, hopefully they kind of explain it a bit more on Dynamite or something. But as a finale thing, I thought it was very weird that they were even in the match. I understand it, like, it was supposed to be Death Triangle, but the whole contract stuff with Phoenix and Penta is going on. We don't know whether they're staying with AEW or going to WWE. But I do feel like we could have probably had someone else tag with Pac, or we could have at least had a reason to have a team with Pac. Like, we could have done like a backstage thing where Pac's talking to people or whatever, or, you know, just something like that that made sense. Because as I said, as far as I was aware, Pac doesn't like the Blackpool Combat Club, so why would he suddenly get on with them well, win championship with them, and he came out for the main event as well, right after Danielson won. So I do wonder whether we're going to get like a reasoning for all this happening for this match. But yeah, I think it was really good that Pac got his moment. Pac got a huge pop in his entrance as well. And yeah, I look forward to seeing what they do as trio champions. I can't see Pac winning it all out, so I hope they go on a decent run with the trio championships. But the one thing I do want is, as I said, the explanation as to why they are teaming up in the first place. Following that, we had the Women's World Championship match where Toni Storm defended the Women's Championship against Mariah May, and yeah, Mariah May got the win as the new Women's Champion. And for me, you could kind of tell how well this match was built up just by the crowd reaction itself, like the amount that people were cheering on Toni, the fact that people even in Mariah's home country and pretty much her hometown were booing her so loudly. Like, you could tell that kind of like just how well this story had been done. I saw a load of custom promos that I thought were fantastic towards this, and it was probably the match I was most excited for overall. Yeah, but the match itself, really good. I very much enjoyed it. The powerbomb from the apron to the floor I thought was really brutal from Mariah to Toni. Mariah went on the outside and kind of went on a rampage on everyone. She hit a lovely knee to Toni. She then drop kicked Luther, who I think sold it pretty well. She then went over to her mother. She slapped her. And then yeah, Toni responded with pure fucking violence by giving her a hip attack to the back of the head when she was stood on the outside and Toni was in the ring. She then slammed her face into the steps a few times and then gave her a Storm Zero on the steps, which then split her open, which Mariah sold very well. You know, as if, like, you could hear her, like, crying and moaning, kind of like she couldn't believe Toni would have split her open. And, like, she sold as if it hurt really badly as well, which I thought was really cool. I liked the fact that they both went for low blows when the referee's back was turned, and the headbutt that followed both the low blows was awful. But it made that, like, sense in the match that, like, kind of it's coming to an end, but, like, both of them don't want to give up. But yeah, the moment of the match for me was Toni going to use the shoe on Mariah May? I'm pretty sure Mariah May, like, said I love you to her, like, just as she was going to do it, and Toni just couldn't bring herself to do it. And as she hesitated, it gave Mariah enough of an opportunity to kind of take advantage of the match, Mariah hit her with a brutal knee to the head and then to the front of the head as well, and then hit Storm Zero to get the win in what was a really good match. I thought that, I thought the match itself was, again, built the best for the show. I was surprised this went on second overall. I probably would have had this go on first if it wasn't going to go on last. As I've said multiple times, it should have gone on last. In retrospect, probably not, but is what it is. But yeah, I very much look forward to seeing what Mariah does as champion. I can't see her feuding with Tony straight off the bat. She's probably gonna, I feel like she's gonna more avoid people than anything else, or maybe like a friend of Tony's that we're not even thinking, like I can't even think of anyway, will come out and face her at All Out or something like that. As for Tony, I'd probably leave her and kind of send her away for a bit. I feel like she's done enough to kind of deserve a break. I would probably have her come back around January. I know it's a long time, but we have the show in Australia in February, so I'd probably have a return for then in like a big moment where Mariah's like, oh shit, and then you have Tony versus Mariah in Tony's home country, like we did this in hers. But then, like we've suggested this before for Kenny and Will Ospreay, and we haven't done that either. So, well, I feel like if Kenny was fit, we probably would have done it in England by now. But yeah, I think, I said it was a match I very much enjoyed. Build and match itself, I thought they absolutely killed it. I thought the story of the match was very well done, and yeah, probably one of the highlights of the night for me. And yeah, I look forward to seeing what Mariah does as champion. Following that, we had Hook versus Chris Jericho for the FTW Championship and FTW Rules match, where Hook regained the FTW Championship from Jericho in a match that was pretty alright. It kind of like felt like an average FTW Championship match. We had the whole cricket balls, though when Chris Jericho actually brought out the cricket balls, they looked like apples. And the reason I thought they were apples is because Brian Keith is the bad apple, so it kind of made sense that they were apples. But no, they were cricket balls, and then they used the bat, and Chris Jericho got the crap beat out of him with the bat by Hook, and he beat up everyone else on the outside as well. I think the most brutal part was when he Hook throwing the cricket balls at Jericho, because those things are hard and they fucking hurt. So, I wouldn't have liked that myself. But other than that, it was just a bang average no DQ match in my opinion. Like, it was fine. It was fun to watch. Fozzy playing live, I thought was alright. I preferred Jesus last year. I preferred Jesus' theme overall. But yeah, it was alright. It was half decent. Nothing really bad nothing bad happened. Nothing good to write home about happened either. I expected a return to happen, maybe a Samoa Joe, maybe Shibata came back out again after the pre-show and helped Hook. That wasn't the case. Hook more or less won a 3-on-1 handicap match by himself, which, fair enough, fair play to him. And yeah, it was a nice moment seeing Taz get physical again. I can't see it leading to anything else other than just this moment. But yeah, I thought it was very much enjoyable. I very much liked it, but as I said, it was just a bang average no DQ match. It was fun to watch because the no DQ matches are fun to watch. But yeah, I love forward to seeing what Hook does next. But the fact that this kind of FTW title thing is running its course is something I can agree with. It's something that I don't have a major interest in, unless they're going to officially use it for something else, or just give Hook good feuds for it, because Hook's the only real like champion they can have, because it's all connected to Taz, and Taz is his son and all that stuff. It wouldn't shock me if they did scrap it eventually and kind of unified it with something or something like that, I don't know. But yeah, I think as the match itself was decent, but kind of just average in my opinion, which isn't a bad thing, but isn't great either. After that, we had the Young Bucks successfully defend the World Tag Team Championships against the Acclaimed and FTR in a match that I've had no problem in saying that I have pretty much no interest in. I didn't like the match in the first place. I didn't want the Bucks and FTR rematch. I'm not a really big fan of the Acclaimed either. The Acclaimed got a huge pop when they come out, which was to be expected of. They're one of the most over teams in the company. But yeah, the match itself, again, as I said, I wasn't that bothered about, but was really good. It kind of surprised. It didn't surprise me in a way, because I know how good these teams are. But like, the match was way better than the build or anything like that. And like, the only thing that really annoyed me about it, and one thing that like almost put me off even more in the moment, was the 2-person in the ring start. Like, a triple threat match is 3 people, so just put three of the members of the team in the ring at once. Not have 2 and then one whole team's on the outside. That rule bugs me about multi-man tag team matches, and it will forever bug me until we get rid of it, because it doesn't make any sense. But once the kind of match broke down a lot and tagging in kind of got thrown out the window, it became really good and really high octane match. It was action packed throughout, and it was just really good. And you know, there was no real like massively highlighted moment, but like the match itself was really good. And yeah, I kind of was surprised by it, because by the end of it I was kind of getting more into it, and kind of I knew the Bucks were going to win. I couldn't see the Bucks losing here, and there was like a brief moment where I thought the Acclaim might get the win near the end, but you know, the Bucks winning made the most sense. And I do worry for the titles going forward, just because I don't know how much the Bucks are actually going to be around. They've already kind of shown, or given us a taste even of kind of what life's going to be like where they're not around a lot, which is kind of good in a way, the fact that like, you know, the Bucks sometimes can be a bit much in AEW, but then, you know, they are champions, so it kind of is annoying in that way. And yeah, then after the match we saw the return of GYV, the Grizzled Young Vets. I say return because they did have matches on Collision, I think, a couple of times, or maybe just once, so it's not really a debut. But it made sense. The pop was decent for for Grizzled Young Vets. I personally didn't realise they were in the ring till a bit later on, and yeah, I thought it was a really cool moment. Yeah, they attacked FTR, they stared down the Young Bucks, so it looks like they're going to be pretty prominently shown as a tag team, which I look forward to. I don't, you know, they had their bit of like lower time in WWE as part of the schism, but when they were the Grizzled Young Veterans in NXT UK and NXT, I thought they were really good, so I do look forward to seeing what they do in AEW on kind of a bigger stage rather than the kind of lower parts of WWE. And yeah, I think overall match was really good. I'm not surprised that Young Bucks retained, and I kind of worry for the tag team titles going forward if the Young Bucks aren't going to be around a lot. Following that, we had the Casino Gauntlet match, and you'll have to forgive me if I keep looking down, but I do have notes about who was in the match and stuff, so you'll have to forgive me for that. But the participants were Orange Cassidy, Okada, Nigel McGuinness, Kyle O'Reilly, Zack Sabre Jr., Roderick Strong, Mark Briscoe, Hangman Page, Jeff Jarrett, Ricochet, Christian Cage, and Killswitch. And man, this match was so good. Like, just as a kind of to be in the moment for, like, if this is what Royal Rumbles feel like, man, I hope they bring one to England soon, because I am there for it. Like, you know, just pop after pop after pop. The match was absolutely stacked. I know that we got like a few filler people. I mean, they're not filler. I feel like it's very harsh saying that they're filler, but like the likes of Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly, you know, the thought of having Evil Uno in there, who said he was going to be in it, Mark Briscoe, Jeff Jarrett, they all felt like, okay, they're not really going to win this match, but they're in it anyway. And no, each person made it really good. And yeah, kind of, it felt as if entrance-wise and timing-wise, it felt more like people were coming out when they wanted to, rather than just given a select time. And when Justin Roberts was announcing the match, he didn't say, oh, someone's going to enter every so-and-so minutes. Mainly because Roderick Strong entered, and then very quickly after Mark Briscoe entered as well, and it would make sense to me that Mark Briscoe would just want to get out there. And I kind of like the idea of that, the fact that people have like, I don't know, they have like, oh, you can come out in the next 10 minutes, but you can choose whenever you want to come out. And I feel like that would work really well for a match like this. And yeah, overall the match was really good. Very much enjoyed it. There was huge pops for the like of Hangman, Jeff Jarrett, Okada, Zack Sabre Jr. all got really big pops. But the biggest pop, and probably one of the biggest pops of the night, was the return of Nigel McGuinness into the ring. You know, it's been like 13 years since he wrestled. I'm hoping that like he kind of does maybe a bit of commentary, but more wrestling than commentary, just because I haven't really seen him wrestle apart from in this match. I'm not a Ring of Honor fan. I never have really watched Ring of Honor. I do consider getting into it, but like there's enough wrestling to consume during the week anyway without Ring of Honor. So, but yeah, as I said, Nigel McGuinness, huge pop. TV did not do it justice, in my opinion, and like on the TV it came across really well. But like honestly, I think Nigel McGuinness and Danielson got like the biggest pops of the night. As for anything else, I thought that yeah, people lost it when Ricochet debuted, and I did as well. My brother loves Ricochet, and yeah, he went crazy, and I even got a video where like he's losing his crap when that happened. And yeah, just the whole thing, like as an experience, was very enjoyable. As for the match itself, Christian winning was such a shithouse thing to do, and I think like, I don't know, I'm not massively happy that he won the match. Like, as a fan of Christian and knowing like how he is and stuff like that, I enjoyed the win overall. Like, I couldn't stop laughing when the 3 count went. But I felt like Hangman or maybe even Nigel McGuinness would have been the ideal winners, just because those kind of Nigel would have feuded well with Danielson for the title, and Hangman would have feuded well with Swerve. It seems like we're going to get Hangman and Swerve just without the championship, which again makes sense in a way. Nigel and Danielson we have to do at some point before he retires. But yeah, I thought that as far as Christian goes, I thought that him winning was really good. But then it was a case of, will he cash in later on? Because it would make sense that he would see a fallen Danielson or Swerve and kind of go for it then. But then I kind of took it to them when he didn't cash in later. I would have it so Christian kind of holds it for ages, like to a point where people even forget he's even got it, and then striked when like the most babyface person is winning and has won the title, he comes out and screws everybody and becomes like the biggest heel in wrestling pretty much. But yeah, I hope we get the Ricochet that we should have got in WWE, like kind of the way we got him in NXT, but like to level 100. I feel like that's the way we're going to get it in AEW. At least like it seems that way. A lot of people are ready to like see Ricochet as like a main event guy, and I can see it going that way. I just hope that again booking's kind of on his side. It wasn't in WWE, especially near the end. But I did think it made him look strong as far as like the way he got taken out is by the now Intercontinental Champion, so it kind of makes that not look as bad. It's not as if Bron Breakker took him out and then didn't do anything. No, at least it kind of makes him look strong in that way. But yeah, I look forward to seeing what Ricochet has to do in AEW. I don't know if anyone noticed this, but Roderick Strong was saved by Kyle O'Reilly. Like, there was a moment where Strong took out Nigel McGuinness, and then Kyle O'Reilly pushed him out of the way before Nigel did like I think it was like a really bad close, not bad as in like a bad, as in bad as in like brutal to take clothesline to Kyle O'Reilly. I don't know whether people will notice that and kind of read into it. I assume at some point Kyle O'Reilly will join the Undisputed Kingdom, and I feel like this might be a teaser towards it. But yeah, other than that, I feel like this match was just amazing. I thought it was like one of the better matches of the night. It really sticks out in my head anyway. And yeah, just as an experience was very much enjoyable, and like even watching it back was really cool. So yeah, definitely go watch this if you haven't already. And yeah, Christian Cage getting the win here, absolute shit-ass thing to do, but I feel like he will use this anytime, any place title match perfectly. Following that, we had Will Ospreay winning the International Championship, or the American Championship, from MJF, and then it turning back into the International Championship. And yeah, even like with MJF's constant gloating, this match had really good pacing to it. Like, I don't know how long it went specifically, but I know it went quite long, but it didn't feel that way like in the moment or watching it back on TV. You know, the time flew by and it went really well. I thought it was evenly contested. I thought the guys had great chemistry together, and they absolutely killed it. It was definitely like one of the better matches of the night. I'd probably say it wasn't match of the night, but was a very, very close second. And that like for the second year in a row, these two will put on a banger match at All In. Obviously with MJF and Cole last year, and Ospreay and Jericho last year. But fair play for MJF. He tried that springboard moonsault. Obviously, he didn't actually hit it and he landed on his feet, but fair play. He said that anyone can do flips, and then he just proved it like straight away, which I thought was really cool. There was a beautiful reversal from MJF where Ospreay went for the Stormbreaker and MJF turned it into a crossroads. I thought that was absolutely fantastic. MJF was like the smartest guy in the room. He kind of got to his knees, looked up at the screen, saw Ospreay was getting set for the Hidden Blade, and then rolled out of the ring to stop that happening, which again, I call Damian Priest the smartest babyface in WWE for watching the screens, and I'll do the same to MJF here. Like, it works perfectly. Why not use your environment to your advantage? The Destroyer on the apron I thought was awful, and I'm surprised that it didn't kind of bust Ospreay open or something, but yeah, absolutely fantastic to see, and a beautiful Destroyer as well. We saw the return of Daniel Garcia, who stopped MJF from cheating right before the Hidden Blade, and then and then Ospreay finally hit the Tiger Driver 91 on MJF to get the win. And the move is just brutal. It's brutal whenever you see it. It's essentially just dropping a guy on his neck. It is not nice, but it made perfect sense to have it be MJF. They did it on, the crowd absolutely popped when he hit it. They were chanting for it practically the whole match. And yeah, overall, as I said, it was absolutely fantastic. Like, the whole match was a highlight. I know I pointed out a few things here, but like, the whole thing was fantastic. It was so brilliantly done. You know, fan participation was used, you know, good pacing, great chemistry, and just like, they both went out and killed it, and they almost stole the show. And I feel like if Danielson and Swerve wasn't a title versus career match, it probably would have stolen the show. But yes, they definitely go watch this one back. Very happy to see Ospreay back as the international champion. I assume that MJF and Daniel Garcia will have a match at All Out, which I'm sure will be a match that is very much enjoyable and very much looking forward to. Obviously, Ospreay is going to face Pac at All Out because of the international championship. So yeah, all good stuff coming out of this match in my opinion, not just for the match itself but the stuff afterwards. Yeah, one of the highlights of the night for me. Following that, we have Mercedes Moné retain the TBS Championship against Britt Baker, and this match, yeah, for whatever reason, this match just did not click. Just watching it live and rewatching it afterwards, it was very stagnated. It was slow. There just seemed to be no chemistry between these two. I don't know whether it's a personal thing or a behind-the-scenes thing or just a simple case of they just don't click. But yeah, this was just not great. The finish especially was terrible. Like, you know, it seemed to be like, you know, Baker had Mercedes in the submission. Mercedes reversed it. They both tried to get up. Then Mercedes was supposed to set Britt Baker up for her finisher, but instead Britt Baker got like confused or something. Didn't quite do it. So Mercedes dragged her into the ropes, pushed her over, and then set up for the finisher, which I thought was really like confusing and made Mercedes look like a bad person. Like, overall, like, forget wrestling, just to drag someone around like that just didn't seem right as far as the match went. And yeah, it was just very weird. Like I said, Baker looked like, well, not looked, but it just came across as if she was just really confused with what she was supposed to be doing for the finish. And yeah, Mercedes' finisher also is crap. Like, it just doesn't seem to do a lot. Like, it doesn't seem as if like it would get someone down for the 3. If it was me, I'd probably have Mercedes go back to doing what I know as the bank statement. I can't remember what it's called in AEW, and just have her finish be like a frog splash or something for Eddie Guerrero, because the finish she actually has does not look great. She can't do it to anyone that's taller than her in any kind of, or the same height as her. Like, it hit really well against Kairi Sane in New Japan. And against Sky Blue, I think it worked well. But against Britt Baker, who's just about as tall as her or taller, it didn't work at all. So I'd probably scrap that finisher if I was her. But I know she's not, because she's an asshole. But yeah, the match itself, was it a bad match overall? Like, in an overall sense? Kind of, I'm not gonna lie. It kind of was bad. Was it bad in the case of it's Britt Baker and Mercedes Moné? Absolutely. Like, this match would be down as a dream match for anybody. Like, for a while, you know, when Mercedes Moné was Sasha Banks in WWE and we had Britt Baker in AEW, it was a dream match. It was a match that people wanted to see. And yeah, this match went from dream to nightmare very quickly. The crowd was dead for it. It didn't come across on TV as well. Like, there was some quiet moments, but there seemed to be some kind of crowd interaction. Trust me, the arena was silent for this one. I don't know whether it was the fact that people were tired after the Ospreay and MJF match. That would make perfect sense. But it got to a point where people weren't even counting the counts for the pin. I missed a couple of pins because I didn't realise they were going on, and I was talking to my best mate that was there. And yeah, the whole thing just came across really, really badly, like in the arena and on TV as well. And yeah, it's just not very enjoyable. And like, I hope they kind of move on from each other now, just because, yeah, for whatever reason, this match just did not click. It was a very, very much of a down point in the night. I'd probably say it was the only down point of the night was this. And it's a shame, because these two would have, I feel like, would have absolutely killed it on maybe any other day. But yeah, the chemistry was not there. The kind of feel wasn't there. And I probably wouldn't have had this match follow MJF and Ospreay, but whether that was the case for this or whether it wasn't, it just wasn't very good, which is a massive shame. After that, we had the coffin match between Jack Perry and Darby Allin, where Jack Perry did retain the TNT Championship. And there's kind of two words I would use to describe this match: quick and realistic. Like, this match I think only went 10 minutes. I know that, you know, there was this stuff about how it got time cut because of the curfew. That's fine. But even if the idea of the match and the finish was how it was supposed to be the whole time, Jack Perry is like one of the smartest guys in wrestling, because he knew that he had to get Darby into the coffin and stay there. And what did he do? He tied him up by his feet and by his arms, put him in a body bag so he couldn't move, he couldn't get a body part out of the coffin, put him in and shut the door. It was like as easy as that. I know it wasn't like just straight to that point, but yeah, I thought it was just really, really smart from Jack Perry to do it that way. And like, I can't think of any other moments where a casket match or a coffin match finished that way. And yeah, it was very, very innovative and it worked perfectly. And yeah, the match itself was quick. You know, I can't say it was good or bad. It was very, very quick. It seemed to fly by from what I can remember, and when I watched it back again, it seemed to fly by. The use of the real glass I thought was perfect, in the way that Jack Perry didn't even need to say anything. He just smirked at the camera and did his taunt. I thought it was really cool, but people knew exactly what he was up to, and yeah, it worked perfectly for me. I thought it was great. I did like going into this match thinking they might have like a glass coffin that bloody Darby would throw himself through or some crazy crap like that. But no, I thought this match was very enjoyable for the very short time it got and just the way it finished. And then we got the fantastic moment where, like, for someone who's never been, well, the only other pay-per-view he's been to has been All In 2023. To get that kind of blackout moment where someone was going to come out and you didn't know what was going to happen, and then Sting appeared, I thought was really cool. He came out to Seek and Destroy again, which was awesome. The fans were even singing Seek and Destroy when everything had happened and they were kind of leaving the arena. But yeah, absolutely fantastic match for what it was, and yeah, just very much enjoyable. And I do hope they kind of have a match where they have more time and they can actually go out and like put an absolutely banger, violent affair on. So, but yeah, I think Jack Perry getting the win made the most sense. You know, he only just introduced a new design for the TNT Championship, and it still feels like he's very new as the TNT Champion. Darby lost his first coffin match, but I think it was the better choice. I'd rather people lose their first, like, their match than do it and then win a title that they shouldn't really have. And Darby's got a world title match coming up anyway, and I don't think he's going to win that either, but still. But yeah, same. You know, as I said, very enjoyable overall. So yeah, very happy with this one. And finally, in the main event, we had Bryan Danielson defeat Swerve Strickland to become the new AEW World Champion. And as far as moments go, I don't think I will ever forget this match. Like, these two were incredible. The character work, building up, and in the match were fantastic. You know, Swerve was impeccable throughout. Like, he can play face or heel at a moment's notice, and it works perfectly every time. I do genuinely hope he becomes a world champion again, because he has just been fantastic. He's arguably been one of the best wrestlers on AEW television this year. I can't wait to see what he does afterwards. I assume a rematch with Danielson might happen, but I'm not sure when or where, especially with Danielson kind of winding down a bit. But man, Swerve can do anything, I think, and would just absolutely kill it. As for Danielson, man, him being world champion, like, the moment of the 1-2-3 was massive, and I'll kind of get to that a bit in a minute when we kind of get to that point in my notes. But yeah, the match itself was evenly contested. I think maybe Swerve got a bit more in, but yeah, I thought it was just fantastically done. I thought that using the ring bell as Swerve as a heel, I thought was really clever to do early, and kind of having the visuals of Danielson being busted open quite early kind of gave the sense that he was going to lose maybe, but obviously wasn't the case. But I thought that they played that very well. Hangman getting involved didn't really do much. It didn't feel majorly necessary. I understand why they would have that happen, but it wasn't as if Hangman came out and it distracted Swerve and cost him, because when it did distract him and all that, he kicked out of the Psycho knee. So it wasn't kind of that case of Hangman cost him the championship, though I'm worried they're going to play that on Dynamite this week. I assume that we'll get Swerve versus Hangman at All Out, or at least at Wrestle Dream, and kind of have it be like a full year of feud. But yeah, I think even in this match, there was, like, even the biggest Swerve fan eventually turned around and kind of started supporting Danielson. I did personally. I was behind Swerve through the whole build and through the start of the match, but I found myself naturally just turning towards wanting Danielson to win. I know my brother said a similar thing as well to me after the match. And yeah, it was just like the moments of like, yeah, doing the yes chants and kind of Wembley just going absolutely crazy for Danielson, I thought was really cool. But yeah, the biggest moment for me, and the kind of the image that would go hard, if you will be when Swerve was going, he was kind of set up for house call, and kind of Danielson was on the side of the ring where he was kind of looking at his family and his wife and that. And there was like a moment where Danielson reached out towards them just as Swerve went for it. So you kind of had the moment of Danielson reaching to his family and then got absolutely blasted in the head by a kick by Swerve, the house call, of course. I thought that was a fantastic moment. And as soon as he kicked out of that house call, I knew the match was only going one way, and that was towards Danielson. And when Danielson did get the win and the 1, 2, 3 was hit, the place erupted. Like I am fairly sure if Wembley had a roof before this event, it wouldn't have one now. Like, I'm pretty sure we took part of the roof off, to be fair, like the little part of roof that there actually is. But yeah, just the match was full of emotion. It was fantastic. Like, it was by far the match of the night. And yeah, honestly, go and watch it. I know that there's a lot of the videos going online of everyone singing the final countdown. Yeah, that was a great moment to be a part of. And like, I think it was the only part of this show where the TV showed the kind of the fans and kind of did us justice for how loud we were, was when we all sang the final countdown as Danielson was on the top rope. But yeah, absolutely fantastic. And just, yeah, what a match. Just unforgettable moment. And I'm so happy to have been a part of it, pretty much. So yeah, definitely go watch it, and just match of the night by far. So those were my thoughts and opinions on AEW All In 2024. As an event, it was absolutely fantastic. As I said, the only real low part was Mercedes versus Britt. Everything else was pretty damn good. Like, I mean, the tag match and the SGW match were alright, but everything else just hit differently and was absolutely fantastic. And there's a reason why they call this like the biggest show of the year. I get that like people will point out, oh well, you know, half bloody all that tape was up and all the fans and whatever. Mate, it didn't affect anything. Like, there could have been 80,000 in that arena like last year, and I feel like it would have been just as loud. And yeah, I don't think it's about all that, and it's just, you know, as a show and as a wrestling show and as an event, it was very enjoyable. I was very thankful to be there, and you know, I know we gotta wait. I know next year's Forbidden Door, and I'm not going to be going down for that one because the people I go with don't really know wrestling as well as to know who people from New Japan are. But in 2 years, I plan on going back down to Wembley for All In, and I very much look forward to see where everything is at that point. Maybe even see a Will Ospreay world title match, and to see Jon Moxley on this card, because I really miss Moxley on this one. But yeah, the event itself was fantastic. Like, everything was really cool. I said the only thing that let it down was Britt and Mercedes, and hopefully they kind of, neither of them lose momentum coming out of this. But yeah, everything else was fantastic. But yeah, the three big matches for me were the Casino Gauntlet, MJF and Ospreay, Danielson and Swerve were fantastic. Honestly, go watch them if you can do. And yeah, just an absolutely great night of wrestling. But do tell me in the comments what you thought of the show, if you were watching at home or whether you were there in attendance as well. How much you enjoyed it, what you enjoyed, what you didn't enjoy. You know, put all that down in the comments. I'll ask you to like and subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for the predictions for Bash at Berlin, and then the day after for the predictions for No Mercy. So a few videos in a row days wise. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. See you later.